Hey everyone, it's Zoe and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to the shit show. Today I'm going to be doing the mid-year book freak-out tag. The first time I've done this before August, I think. So like pat on the back, I'm really proud of myself right now. Also filming this at the end of May, very, very early. So the answers might have changed by the time you see this video. Ignore any loud noises you hear. The boys are playing in the kitchen right now while Kurt's doing dishes and they are just having a blast throwing shit around. I don't even know what they're doing. As of filming this video, I've read 58 books so far this year, and the majority of them were rereads or finishing old series that I started as a kid that I never got around to finishing for whatever reason. There's not a lot of super recent stuff, I think. Is that a lie? That's kind of a lie. I tried to go with mostly new stuff here in this stack for this video, but the majority of the stuff that I've read so far this year is not new. It's at least a decade old. There are some duplicate answers in here though, because a bitch knows what she likes. Surprisingly, I'm not freaking out that much about my reading goal this year because I'm only like 3 or 4 books behind schedule. And I'm confident that I can get back ahead and finish out the year strong and hopefully read some more new shit and not just a bunch of books from 2005. Oh, good Lord, Jonathan, I'm not answering you right now. Decline. My brother wanted to video chat again with the whole fam. First up is the best book that you've read so far in 2022. Classic me, classic Libra, classic dumb bitch. I cannot make a decision about which book in this series was my favorite because they're all so good and they all deserve love and I don't want to hurt their feelings by picking one of them. The Faithful and the Fallen series by John Gwynne. I have the first 2 books here. I listened to the other 2 on audiobook, but I will be getting them very soon. The first one is Malice, and that is a very beat up cover. This was from Tyson when he was a puppy when I read this for the first time in 2020. And this one was from Noah when I reread it this year. Well loved? That's what we'll call it. Well loved. And Valor is the second one. The third one is Ruin, and the fourth one is Wrath. This series was so fucking good. I just sat there when it was done and just stared into space and was like, how the fuck can I ever write something this good? And then I turned around the next second and I was like, challenge accepted, let's fucking go. But it was so good. If you like giant casts of characters and political intrigue and a lot of dying, everybody dies left and right. There's so much death. This series is for you. So good. I don't want to spoil the entire series, so I will go off what this first book is about. Let's put that down. So among the giant cast of characters, you have Corbin, a young teenager who just wants to serve under his king and be a warrior for the realm. What he doesn't know is that he's going to get his chance real soon, and the price will be paid in blood. A whole fucking lot of it. And then we've got Evnus, who has sacrificed way too much. Possibly too much. Quite possibly. And the power that he wants is right within his grasp. He's going to be taking that shit real soon. And he's one of those guys that once he gets started, nothing will get in his way. He is going to really fuck shit up. And then we've got Veritas. My love. I love him so much. I've got a tickle and post-nasal drip, and that's just not a good combination. Veritas is the newest member of the warband for High Prince Nether. Despite being one of the best swordsmen to come out of his country in a very long time, he is under his brother's shadow. Any sibling who's ever been in that position knows how much that sucks. And then you have Nether, this high prince that Veritas is under, and he has very big plans for this country once he becomes king. Most of these ideas, these plans that he has, that he wants to put into place, do not involve his father, the High King. Nor does he agree with his father to summon the rest of the kings in this world to a council. He thinks it's bad news bears, horrible idea. Things are really heating up, coming to a head. Blood is seeping out of stones. The giants are stirring again. Everybody is just so on edge. And shit is really about to hit the fan. Question number 2 is, what is the best sequel that you've read so far in 2022? And I hate to be a basic bitch like this. House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. It was so good. The ending just kind of punched me in the face and made me its bitch at the very same time. So this is the sequel to House of... what the fuck is it called? Earth and Blood. I almost said Thorns and Roses. So that's where I'm at. I don't want to spoil this one. I don't remember what I can say about the first one without spoiling it. So let me go grab that and we will reconvene. And I'm back. So, sequel. First one. Prequel? Is it technically a prequel, but it's the first book in the series? I don't fucking know. Words are so hard for me. So it follows Bryce and Hunt. Bryce has a great life, but then in one fell swoop, everything goes fucking wrong, and a demon murders all of her best friends, and she's left in the lurch by herself. Thinks everything's good. The guy accused of it ends up behind bars, but then the same kind of murders start happening again while this guy is still locked up, and she's like, oh, what the fuck? Which brings us to Hunt, a fallen angel who is tasked to help Bryce find out who is behind the string of murders. If he does that, he will earn his freedom. Bryce and Hunt start digging into Crescent City's dark underbelly, unearthing secrets that probably should have stayed hidden because a lot of shit is gonna go real wrong for these people. And they find in each other a blazing passion. Quoted word for word from this. I love it. I'm a hoe for it. The sequel was so good. I was not okay at all. Next up, woo, where's my handy dandy screenshot? Is a new release you haven't read yet but want to. All of them. But I narrowed it down. I don't know how. Actually, it was the first one that I saw, so that's how. An Unthinkable Thing by Nicole Lundgren, which follows 11-year-old Tommy Ware in the summer of 1958 when his world is entirely shattered, when the aunt that raised him is found murdered. There's only one place he can go, back home to the mother who handed him over the very same day that he was born. So he is in a supposedly loving house with his aunt, and then now gets sent back to somebody who did not want him at all, already traumatized. Let's make it worse for the child. Tommy's mom, Esther, I never know how to pronounce that name properly. I don't. Esther. Anyways, let's move on. She works at the Henneberry estate, and all is not as it seems. She's there as a live-in housekeeper. He's mostly left to himself to navigate the massive grounds, the massive house, and the massively twisted family that's living inside. It doesn't take long for him to get sucked into the really weird shit that's happening here. On one side, he's got the matriarch Muriel, who's like paying too much attention to him. It's a little creepy vibes that I'm getting from this, and she's often heavily medicated. On the other side, he's got 15-year-old Martin, who sometimes treats him like a little brother and sometimes treats him, very weird string of sounds, like a pawn in a game that he has no idea what's going on. Dr. Henneberry mostly ignores Tommy, but also wants him gone. And then coming out of left field is the elderly neighbor who might know more about this family's past than anyone is willing to say. Things all come to a head by the end of the summer when there's a horrific crime and the question is raised. The bone-chilling, blood-curdling question, could an 11-year-old have committed murder? I don't fucking know, but I got chills. Penguin very kindly sent me this book right after it was released, and I'm super, super excited to get into this one. Next up. Just unlock the phone. Question number 4 is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I'm gonna have a whole video coming out about this, like my anticipated releases from July to December. Coming, I don't remember which day, but I will put it down here for you. But for now, I narrowed it down because I turned around and I saw the first book and it just slapped me in the face. I'm so excited to read it. This book was so good. So good. Beasts of Prey. That's very shiny. Beasts of Prey by Ayana Gray. It rhymes too, and I love it. I love it so much. There was a promotional thing for this book put out where Penguin took quotes from booktubers and bookstagrammers and book talkers and book turnetters in general, and I was quoted saying, "This has restored my faith in YA fantasy." Because it has. It was so good. Oh my god. Can you see that? I don't even know if that's in focus. But like, the map right on the end papers. A little bit of ASMR. I fucking hate ASMR. Anyways, fantastic. So good. I love a good map, but right in the end papers like that, chef's kiss. So the first character that this follows is Coffee, an indentured beastkeeper at the infamous Night Zoo. The story begins when one night she unleashes this untamed power that's been brewing within her for years, setting into motion a chilling chain of events that turns everything in her world upside down and links her to a complete stranger. The stranger in question is Ekon, I can't remember if it's Econ or Ekon. I read this like almost a year ago. It's gone in the wind. He's training to be one of the elite Sons of the Six, and his task is to catch Coffee after she ran away from the Night Zoo after unleashing this power. Instead of him catching her, she saves him from the Shitani, a monster that's been plaguing La Casa for a century. He's got a special attachment to this monster because it's been plaguing his nightmares for years now. Following their encounter with this beast, they strike up a bargain. Naturally, they each have their own hidden agenda, and they team up to catch this Shitani as the answer to all of their problems. However, as they enter the greater jungle to follow this monster, the question becomes very clear. Are you hunters or are you hunted? This was so good. It was everything I had hoped for. My expectations were met and then exceeded, and I am so ready for the sequel. The next question is, what was your biggest disappointment of 2022? And this one really fucking hurts. It's just like, I had such high hopes for this book. Let me just preface this by saying it's not a bad book. I actually quite enjoyed it, but I was expecting so much more from it. I was expecting to love it, to have my mind like with Beasts of Prey, like some of the other books that I've read this year. However, it was let down. It was good. It was a good book, and I'm sure other people would love it, but for me, it missed the mark a little bit, which is Steeped in Gold by Shannon Smart. I wanted to love this book. I wanted to sing from the rooftops about how fucking good this book is. Because first of all, look at this cover. Gorgeous. Gorgeois. The description, everything I needed in my life. But it was just slower than I was expecting. I started out reading this kind of in a reading slump, so I switched to the audiobook because that usually helps take me out of it, and it almost always I end up loving the book. The unfortunate truth, though, is that this had two separate narrators, and the one narrator, I could not distinguish which character they were talking about because every single voice sounded almost the same, and it kind of ruined the experience for me. It was just like one big jumble in my brain, and I would have to go back and look through in the book and find out who was supposed to be talking because it was just one big blur. Oh, I was so upset. This follows two women, Irea and Jasmine. Irea has spent her life in a cell. She's the heir to the overthrown and magically gifted dynasty, and she was exiled from her home when she was just a little kid. However, every single day brings her closer to her freedom and her vengeance. Jasmine, on the other hand, grew up dressed in gold with the stolen magic at her fingertips. Her mom crowned herself as Doyen, the ruler of these people. Unfortunately, her existence is a threat to her mother's rule. Unlike her sister before her, though, she has no intention of dying to strengthen her mother's rule. Also, the AC is going to turn on. There might be a little hum in the background. I apologize. These two women are both sworn enemies, but they need to come together to take down the woman who threatens their entire world, Jasmine's mother, Doyen Carrion. These two have no limits to the lengths that they will go to get what they want. Stolen magic, overthrown rulers, mom out here trying to kill her daughter out here saying, nope, I'm going to kill you first. Sworn enemies going head to head. Everything about it sounded so perfect. I must say, though, I am going to reread it before I read the next book because I do want to know how the story continues and how it ends ultimately because I'm a nosy bitch and I have to. So I'm hoping that on my reread, it's much better and I'm not so slumpy where I can just sit down and read the physical copy and not even go near the audiobook. But I do not have high hopes. I'm really hoping though that I like the sequel better. Question number 6 is, what was your biggest surprise? And everybody, stop the presses. Take a seat if you are not sitting down. I have an unpopular opinion for you. My God. Oh. If you recall back years and years and years ago to 2018, I believe it was, I had my 1-star predictions video. In 2022, I finally read those books and I did a vlog. You will be seeing it later this month. I was correct about my opinions for most of those books. 2.5 stars, I think, was my highest rating. I didn't like them. However, this one was a standout as the one that I was expecting to hate the most, and I gotta say, is probably one of my favorites out of the bunch. Oh, Zenith by Sasha Alsberg and Lindsay Cummings. I didn't hate it. I really didn't hate it. Did I listen to the audiobook for this? I think I read this like mostly in the physical copy. I know I had the audiobook, but I don't think I listened to the majority of it. I read through some reviews and people were complaining about the overuse of italics, and honestly, before I edit my own work, that's what I do too. And that's kind of how I talk, so it just kind of, it flowed well. And I didn't hate it. And there were, oh my god, what was the one line? Somebody was so mad about something one of the characters said, like something is ass, or I don't even remember. But the character's like 13 or 14 years old, and it sounded exactly like the stupid shit that comes out of young teenagers' mouths. I was not surprised. I was like, yeah, this kind of fits with the character. This is also the kind of stupid thing that I would say. I need to look up this review. I need to see exactly what this line was, because I remember reading it in the review and being like, oh god, that sounds so stupid. But then I read it in context, and it was like, I don't understand why everyone hates this so much. By no means was it a 5-star book, but I didn't hate it. That was not it. But this one is scathing review. Very entertaining. And like, I get it. The world building wasn't great. The writing, nothing amazing. But it was entertaining. It was genuinely entertaining. And I don't know if it was because I had read so many other bad books right before. It was the last book that I read in this vlog. Maybe that's the reason why it was kind of just like, I liked it more than I might have. But also, I think it works in my favor that I read these really bad reviews, and I had seen years and years of people bashing this book for how bad the editing is and whatever. So my expectations, the bar was in the ground. Maybe that's why. If I read it back when it first came out, maybe I would have hated it. I don't know. But as it was, I enjoyed it. I was entertained. It was very, very surprising. I was expecting to literally roll my eyes so far back into my head that they would just come out the other side, okay? But it didn't happen. I was pleasantly surprised at how much I enjoyed it. Question number 7 is favorite new author, either debut or new to you. And I gotta say, John Gwynne. I read the first book a couple years ago, and I had been meaning to get around to the other ones, and I am really, really excited to one day go and binge all of his other stuff. I love the writing style, I love the world building, I love the way he puts things together, and it's a very satisfying ending, but a very realistic ending at the same time. 10 out of 10, really invested in this guy's work now. Question number 8 is newest fictional crush. Honestly, like I've mentioned this before, I don't really have like fictional crushes because cheeseball alert. My real life crush, the husband, is so much better than any fictional crush. Honestly, I'm such a fucking simp for this guy, it's ridiculous. But if I had to choose, I would go back on the John Gwynne train and say Makeen. Makeen, the first book, they said Makian, and then they changed to Makeen. So I'm thinking it's Makeen. Also, the audiobooks for this fucking series, so good. Oh my god, so good. I would listen to them every night while I was putting the boys to bed, and blown away. Noah's just talking away up there. He should be napping right now, but that bitch does not want to nap. Anyways, The Old Wolf, I'm a big fan. Not usually into older guys, but he could get it. That's all I'm saying. Question number 9 is newest favorite character. How did I do that? What a dumb bitch. I was not expecting to love this series as much as I did, and this character in particular, The Immortals by Alison Noel, consisting of, why am I doing this in such a stupid fashion? I'm sorry, that's a bad word. Thea Zoe gets an X. Oh my god, Thea Zoe gets so many X's. Stupid is a bad word in my brother's household, and if any of the kids say it, they get an X. If they do something good, they get a check mark. If they do something bad, they get an X. And stupid is one big X. And Thea Zoe said it too many times. Thea Zoe gets so many X's. Anyways, the Immortal series is Evermore, Blue Moon, Shadowland, Dark Flame, Night Star, and Everlasting. I got the books down just in case I need to run and grab them. Kurt went upstairs to do something. I read the first 3 books when I read it as a teenager, and then I never ended up finishing the series. I finally found the last few books at used bookstores within the last year or so, and I binged the whole fucking thing. And I loved it. It follows this girl named Ever who has a near-death experience, and she comes back with psychic powers. I found a friend. She meets Damon, the super hot bad boy. And what can I even say about the first one without giving it away? I don't even know. He's the only one who can silence the noise and random energy in her head, wielding a magic so intense it's as though he could pierce straight into her soul. She ends up with more questions than answers the more she learns about him, and I already forgot what it said when I threw the book down. Oh, she's wondering just who he is and what he is, because there's something not right about this guy, but she's super into it because she's a teenager. Question number 10 is a book that made you cry. I have not cried from a book this year. Maybe House of Sky and Breath. Did Mama cry at that one? Maybe. I think I cried during House of Sky and Breath, and I think I cried during some of the John Gwynne books. But other than that, I don't think I've cried, which is astounding because I cry at fucking everything. Question number 11 is a book that made you happy. All right, Noah, we're bending. We're bending. Whee! Athlete. Right Where I Left You by Julian Winters. This was so fucking cute. It took me a little bit to get into it, but by the end, I was so invested in these characters. I was so happy. Yeah, this one. This one follows Isaac Martin. I need to read this because I don't fucking remember what it was about. I just remember that I liked it a lot. Isaac Martin is newly graduated and comic book obsessed. And Teen Pride is right around the corner, and if all goes according to plan, he'll meet his comic writing heroes at this year's Legends Con. However, things do not go to plan. He's super excited about spending every waking moment with his best friend Diego before heading off to college without him in the fall. And then Davy, I think it's Davy, an old high school crush comes in, and Isaac is starry-eyed in the meet cute of the century. Unfortunately, when he meets his old crush once again, it causes him to miss out on tickets to Legends Con. So now Isaac has to break the news to Diego, and Diego's not happy, and their time together is growing shorter and shorter and shorter. And Isaac can't figure out why Diego is more upset about this new guy hanging around than missing the convention. Isaac's out here like, how can Diego be mad at me for wanting the kind of love that I see in the movies and going for it when I find it? The kind of love that his favorite queer characters in his comic books never find for themselves. And then Isaac starts to realize that when it comes to love, sometimes reality is better than the fairy tale. And you know what, Isaac? That's 100% true. And then, next up, I have question 12. The most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received. And bold of you to assume that I remember all of the books that I have bought or received this year. I don't. But I did search through Twitter for when I got this book because I remember buying it months after I read it. And turns out I did buy it this year. Oh boy. Yeah. Oh, itchy eyeball. Itchy eyeball. Son of a B word. I read this book in November. I read an arc of it and it was fantastic. You need to go read this. But I bought this book in February and I'm super happy I did because it's gorgeous. Ophelia After All by Raquel Marie, also known as Blonde with a Book, the booktube star. It's Rocky! Guys, look, it's Rocky's book! It's so good! This book was so fucking good. I cried in Rocky's DMs after I read it because I want to adopt all of these characters as my own. This follows Ophelia, who knows what she likes. Rose gardening, Cuban food, hanging out with her friends, and boys. Way too many boys. She gets bragged on all the time for her endless stream of crushes, but you know what? She wouldn't change it. It's part of her. She is who she is. Yeah, that's Ophelia. Wow, what a pretty book. Yeah. Book. Ophelia starts getting really, really confused when she's thinking more about cute, quiet Talia Sanchez than the loss of her picture-perfect prom with her ex-boyfriend. These thoughts that she can't quite control start sowing seeds of doubt about her self-image, which gets so much worse with the impending end of high school and the fractures that are starting to form in her friend group, and just feels like the world is crashing down around her a little bit. As her secrets start to unravel around her, Ophelia needs to decide whether she's going to cling to this fantasy version of herself that everyone's always known and that she's always put forth, or if she's going to figure out who she really is after all. So fucking cute. 10 out of 10. Go read it right now. Thank you. That's my PSA for the day. And question number 13, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? Too many. I'm not even gonna go through them because I have an updated physical TBR video coming out. I don't remember when that's gonna be. Again, I will put that here with what day you can expect to see that. And with that, we are at the end of this tag. Let me know down below in the comments what your answers would have been, or if you're doing this tag, link it down below and I'll go watch it. And if you agreed with any of my assessments of these books, or if that's just too much or you don't have a lot of time, drop some hearts down below, preferably purple ones because that's my favorite color. To stay updated with my current reads and how I'm feeling about them, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads, TikTok, and Storygraph, all at Zoe's All Booked, which I will leave linked down below in the description box. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share the video, and don't forget to what the hell? Don't forget to hit that little bell icon so you can get notified every time I post a new video. I hope you all have a wonderful day and get at least a little bit of uninterrupted reading time. I love you, awesome nerds. I will see you in the next one.